students, welcome to my live teaching learning session of BECS 184 Data Analysis. Today we will do block 4 composite index numbers and qualitative data analysis. In last session we have done quantitative data analysis. Now this is the last topic of this paper, data analysis. In this topic, first of all, we will discuss about index number. Then what are the various types of index number? Then what is the meaning of composite index number and how we can analyze the qualitative data. So let us start from this topic, index number. There are two types of index number. One is simple index number and other is composite index number. These are the two main types of index number. But what is the meaning of index number? So let us first introduce the concept of index number. An index number measures the relative change in price, quantity, value, or some other items of interest from one time period to another. Index number generally estimate the change or percentage change in or relative change in price. We can compare the price level of current period and base year period. It means if we want to compare how much difference in price of current year and base year price, then we will use this index number indices. So index number measures the relative means comparatively, which study comparatively. So relative change in price, we can compare the price of the current year and base year price and the change which happen in price level, we can estimate it with the help of index number. If we want to estimate the relative change in quantity, then we can use index number. If we want to estimate the relative change in value of anything, then index number is also the best measure, or some other items of interest, whatever we want to estimate. If we want to estimate the relative change, either it may be price, either it may be quantity, either it may be export import, either it may be consumer price index or human development index, physical quality of life index, anything we can estimate. If we want to compare the two things, then index number is the best measure which tells us the relative change in particular thing. So a simple index number, as we know that index numbers are of two types. One is simple index, another is composite index. A simple index number measures the relative change in one or more than one variable. So simple index is very simple method. It generally measures the relative change in one thing or more than one variable. Next is definition of index number. A summary measures that estimate a relative comparison between groups of related items. It may be price, it may be quantity, it may be value, it may be export import, and any other thing. We can estimate the relative change or relative comparison between groups of related items. Price relative or percentage relative, a number used to measure how much something has changed from one time period to another. Time period is at present. This is the present time period which is going on. The previous time period is called base year, and the future we can only predict, we can only expect, but can't tell accurately about the future because future is uncertain, future is unpredictable. we can only estimate, or we can only predict or expect about future, but not accurately tell about the future. So a number which used to measure how much something has changed from one time period to another, that is called index number. Next is classification of index number. You know that index number has two types. One is simple index number, other is composite index number. But here we are discussing about three types of index number. One is price index number, second is quantity index number, third is value index number. And these three things we have defined in the definition of index number, because index number shows the relative change in price, quantity, or value, or any other something. So if we compare the price of the base year and current year, then we will say that it is price index number. It measures the changes in the prices of the commodities produced, consumed, or sold in a given time period with reference to the base period. Base period is previous year period. It may be 2010 time period, 2015 year time period, 2020 and 2022. If we are comparing the price of these 2 years, then 2022 price will be current year price and 2020 price will be base year price. We can compare how much increase in price at present, then we can use this index number indices. Next is quantity index number. Quantity index number help us to measure and compare the changes in the physical volume of goods produced. It is clear by its name, quantity. It means how much quantity producer has produced. If we want to compare at present how much quantity is produced and in previous time period how much quantity was produced by the producer, then if we want to estimate the relative change in quantity of the commodity which was produced by the producer at present or in previous year, then we can use this quantity index number. So this quantity index number help to measure and compare the changes in the physical volume of goods and services which are produced, sold and purchased in a given period compared to the other time period or base year period. Third is value index number. Value index number, these indexes show changes in the value of any commodity in a given period in reference to the base year period. It means it is common in these three concepts. Then if we want to compare the price of the commodity at present or in a base time period, then we will use price index number. If we want to compare the quantity produced by the producer at present or in a base time period, then we will use this quantity index number. And if we want to compare the value of the any commodity, and if we want to compare the changes which happen in the value of any commodity in a given time period and in a base period, then we will use this value index number. It means, in short, we can say that index number tells us the relative change in any commodity's price, quantity, and value of that commodity or any other thing. We can estimate by comparatively study, and we can analyze the comparison between these different concepts. So index number is very helpful. Next is simple index number. You know that there are two types of index number. One is simple index number, other is composite index number. Now this is the simple index number that are constructed from a single item only. If we are taking only one variable, that is called univariate. But if we want to estimate only a single item, if we want to construct index number on the basis of a single item, that is called simple index number. So index numbers that are constructed from a single item only, that is simple index number. Definition used for all index numbers is current period. Current period is the time period which is going on, our present time period, and the period for which you wish to find out the index number. And the base year period is that period with which you wish to compare prices in the current period. For example, if 2022 price and 2021 price is given, then current price we will denote it by P1, and 2021 price is called base year price, which is denoted by P0, and P1 divided by P0 multiply by 100, then we can estimate this simple index number. So simple index number is very simple. It is clear by its name. It's a very simple index number because it only compare the base year price and current year price, the ratio in between of these two things we can compare with the help of this simple index number. So current period, you know that current period is at present time period, and base year period, whatever base year is given like 2021, 2020, 2019, 18, 17, all these time periods are known as base year period. And we can compare the simple price index with the help of current period price, which is denoted by P1, and base year price, which is denoted by P0. And P1, if P1 is divided by P0 multiplied by 100, then we can estimate the relative change in price level. So this is simple index number. Next is composite index. Now what is composite index? Composite index formed when individual indicators are compiled into a single index. If we are taking only single unit or single item, that will be called simple index number. But if we are taking in our study more than one item or different items, then it will be called composite index. So composite index is based on multivariate analysis. But the simple index number is based on univariate data analysis. Univariate is that thing in which only one variable is included. One variable we can study. Bivariate, in this we can study about two variables. And in multivariate, we can study about more than two variables or different variables. So composite index formed when individual indicators are compiled into a single index on the basis of an underlying model of the multi-dimensional concept that is being measured. So it measures multi-dimensional concept. It is a multi-dimensional concept. It is a multivariate concept because it is including not only one item, it is including more than one item, more than two item. That is called multi-dimensional concept, like business cycles. What is business cycles? Business cycles are wave-like fluctuations which occurs time to time. Business cycle has four stages: boom, recession, depression, recovery. And this business cycle has four things: boom, recession, depression, and recovery. It means it has four dimensions, it has four variables. That is called multi-dimensional concept, because in this concept we are not taking only one variable, we are not taking only two variable, we are discussing about four things, that is boom, recession, depression, and recovery. These are the four stages of business cycles which can't be captured by a single indicator. That's why we have to study, if we want to study about business cycle, then it will be called composite index, not only simple index. Same as ideally a composite index should be based on a theoretical framework, definition, which allows individuals indicator variables to be selected, combined, and weighted in a manner which reflects the dimensions or structure of the phenomena being measured. So composite index number always studies about more than two variables or more than two dimensional concepts. Single index generally study about only a single unit or single item only. But composite index is a multi-dimensional concept that is being measured by this method composite index. Next is index number. Generally, index number is value in period of interest. It means value in a period of a current time period divided by value in base year period multiplied by 100. This is called simple index number. P1 upon P0 into 100. When the value exceeds 100, it indicated an increase in activity in the economy. If the answer will be more than 100, it means that increase in activity in the economy. And if when the value is less than 100, it indicates a decrease in the level of activity in the economy. Uh, it is clear by this diagram here 100 is a baseline which is denoted by red color, and the points which lies above this baseline, this point is 110. If answer is 110, which is above this 100 value, it means it indicated an increase in activity in the economy. If answer is near about 125, that is also increase exceeds by 100, so it also increases indicated an increase in activity of the economy. But when it falls down and goes to 90 value, it means it is less than 100, which indicates a decrease in the level of the activity in the economy. So if the value of this uh, index number is 110, that 10%, 100 and 110, the difference between this is only 10. It means 10% higher than baseline. And if this is the value of the answer is 90, it means it is 10% lower than baseline. So lower value shows decrease in the level of activity in the economy, and higher value shows increase in the activity of the economy. So this is index number, and index number tells us about the change in anything, either it may be price, quantity, or value. We can easily estimate and we can easily compare with the time period of current time period and base time period. Next is it's a numerical question. It's a very simple question. How we can estimate simple index number? So simple index number, it is very easily calculated. Simple index number, the symbol symbolically we can denote it by P01. Here P01 denotes index number, and simple index number is P is P1 upon P0 into 100. Here P1 is current year price and P0 is base year price multiplied by 100, because we are estimating relative change or percentage change in price of the current time period and the base time period. So if in this illustration, commodity is given A, B, C, D, E, F. These are the commodities A, B, C, D, E, F. 6 commodities are given, and price in 2001 and price in 2003 is given. So price in 2001 is called base year period, and 2003 price is called current year period price. It doesn't matter that price always current year will be called 2022 price. If price is given 2010 and 2015, then 2010 price we will take as a base year, and 2015 price we will take as a current year price. And if price is given 2001, 2003, then 2001 price will be base year price, and 2003 price will be current year price. So 2001 price is given 20, 30, 10, 25, 40, 50, and price in 2003 is given 25, 30, 15, 35, 45, 55. First of all, we will calculate price relative. Relative means comparison. Comparison means base year price and current year price, we can compare it. So price relative can be estimated by using P1 upon P0 into 100, this formula. So price P1, current year price is 25, and the base year price, which is 2001 price, is 20. So 25 divided by 20 multiplied by 100, then 30 divided by 20, 30 divided by 30 multiplied by 100, then 15 divided by 10 into 100, same as we can calculate price relative. So price relative is delta sigma P. Sigma is the summation, and price relative can be denoted by R. Price relative can be denoted by P, capital P. So in simple aggregate method, we can estimate this price index, which is denoted by P01, is equals to sigma P1 upon sigma P0 into 100. So sigma P1, it means current year price total is 205, and the base year price total is 175. So 205 divided by 175 multiplied by 100, then this is 117.14%. It is higher than 100%. How much increase in this? 17.14 increase. It means it is showing, it is indicating that there is an increase in economic activity. And if the answer will fall down from 100, that will show that there will be decrease in activity of the economy. So it's a very simple method. We can easily calculate by using this simple index number method, P1 upon P0 into 100, and the sigma is called summation, or in total, what is the value of P1, that is called sigma P1, and what is the sum of P0, that is called sigma P0. So sigma P1 divided by sigma P0 multiplied by 100, then we can estimate the simple aggregate method or simple index number. Next is, what are the uses of index number? There are so many uses of index number. Index number is very helpful. Index number is very useful for each and every economy, for all the consumers, all the producers, all the exporters or importers, and economic point of view, these index number are very useful. Why it is very useful? It is very useful because it measures the changes in the price level. It also measures the changes in the value of money. It also measures the changes in the cost of living. And it also tells us about the market condition. What type of market condition is going on? Either in market, there may be boom situation, and either it may be depression situation or recession situation. So if we want to know about market condition, then index number is very helpful. If we want to know about the price of the commodity at present and in the previous year, we want to compare it, then it is measurable with the help of this index number. And index number is also very useful for measuring the changes in the value of money. How much value of money will increase or decrease depends upon the price. If price increases, then value of money will fall. If price decreases, then value of money will rise. Value of money means purchasing power of the currency. Purchasing power of the currency depends upon the increase in price level. If price increases, purchasing power of the currency or money will fall down. And if price level decreases, then the value of money will rise up. So it measures the changes in the value of money. And if you want to measure the cost of living of the consumer, how much consumer has to bear the cost of living, or if he want to maintain his standard of living, then how much he has to pay to on the basis of this increase in price level. So index number always help us in measuring the changes in the cost of living, and it also tells us about the market condition. That's why index number is very useful and index number is very important thing. Next is composite versus single development indicators. What is the difference between composite versus single development indicators? Composite means which studies about multi-dimensional items, and single indicator or single index number is which includes only single unit or single item. So there is a wide difference between composite and single development indicator. However, there is a clearly often a positive correlation between GDP. GDP is gross domestic product, GNI is gross national income, and the HDI is human development index, as countries with a high HDI can distribute funds to healthcare and education, subsequently raising life expectancy and educational attainment. In spite of this, composite indicators make global comparison. If we want to compare Indian economy with the rest of the world or other foreign countries, then we will use composite development indicators. But if we want to estimate our country's GDP, gross domestic product, or gross national income, and if we want to show that how much increase in our national income or increase in our per capita income, how much increase in our standard of living of the country people, that is single development indicator. Then we will use single development indicator. But in composite indicator, we use for making comparison with global world or rest of the world. Uh, Global comparison a lot easier, although some like the human poverty index are subjective, meaning that it is actually a less accurate measure of development than solely using GDP. Because solely if we are using single development indicator, it is accurate uh, figures regarding development. But if we are using composite index number, then it will not be such an accurate measure of development rather than solely using GDP or single development indicator. But composite indicators help us for the global comparison, or if we want to compare our economy with rest of the world, and if we want to estimate whole world development or other thing, then we will use this composite development indicator. So composite development indicator uses multi-dimensional things, but single development indicator only use single item or single unit like GDP, GNI, or HDI as a country with a high HDI. If we are estimating in India's HDI, Human Development Index, which includes three things: education, healthcare, and life expectancy, that is single development indicator. But if we are making human development index of 100 countries or 200 countries, then we will use composite development indicator. So this is the difference between composite and single development indicator. Next is composite measures. What factors we have to consider while constructing this composite index number? There are so many factors are needed and kept in mind while making this composite index number. So bivariate and multivariate relationship between items. Items should be related to each other but not perfectly related. Bivariate is which studies uh, about two variables. Multivariate variables are those variables in which we include more than two variables. Then bivariate and multivariate relationship between items. Items should be related to each other or may not be perfectly related. If items are not related, they are probably measuring different things. If two items are perfectly related, They are redundant and are not adding any new information. So this is the composite measures, the factors which we have to consider in their construction of this index number. Next is steps in constructing composite index. What are the various steps of estimating this composite index? There are 10 steps. One is theoretical framework. We should learn about how we can make this composite index. In theoretical aspect, we must have a knowledge regarding this composite index. Next is data selection. We have to select the data which we are using in this composite index. Next is imputation of missing data. We have to impute, we have to estimate the missing data which is necessary for making this composite index. Then missing data, how we can impute it and how we can estimate it, we have to do this thing. Next is multivariate analysis. Composite index is based on multivariate analysis because it includes more than two variables, or it's a multi-dimensional concept. Next, we will normalize all things, whatever we have collected. Then weighting and aggregation, then we will give weight according to different methods of index number like Lasphere, Pastre, Fisher, Bowley, Edgeworth, etc. So many statisticians has given their different formulas of estimating index number. In these are Fisher index number is generally called the ideal index number because it includes Lasphere and Pastre both formulas. So weighting and aggregation, how we can give weight or aggregate the things according to their importance or their value. Next is uncertainty and sensitivity analysis. Then we will study about those things which are uncertain, unpredictable, because index number generally made for predicting, or we can use this index number for future expectations, for future predictions. When we use this price index, then we can compare this year price to current year price, and then we can estimate what change at present in price level is at present. Then we can estimate then price will increase in future or decrease in future. If the value if the value comes less than 100, it means price is falling, and if the value or answer increases by 100, it means then price will increase in future also. So we can predict about future with the help of this composite index. And back to the data, then again we will go back to the data, and then we will link it to other indicators like physical quality of life index. We can make with the help of this composite index. Human development index we can make with the help of this composite index, and global or gender index we can make with the help of this composite index. Next is last point is visualization of the result. Then we can visualize the result or interpretation, or what result has come after analyzing, after studying, after doing this whole process. That is called visualization of the result. So these are the 10 steps which we use while constructing composite index. One is theoretical framework, next is data selection, next is imputation of missing data, fourth is multivariate analysis, fifth is normalization, sixth is weighting and aggregation, seventh is uncertainty and sensitivity analysis, eighth is back to the data, ninth is links to the other indicators, and 10th is visualization of the results. Next is what are the different these phases we have discussed now. That first of all, data gathering, it means data collection, analysis of the existing national or international sources. Data can be collected by national sources or by international sources. Then data treatment, missing data imputation, either we use regression imputation, calculation of the rates by 1 lakh inhabitants if needed, and then validation, internal coherence. It's a principal component analysis, selection of the relevant variables, identification of the subdimensions, then data normalization. Data normalization can be done with the help of standardization of the single indicator like Z scores, then subdimensions aggregation, aggregation method like arithmetic mean, standardization of each subdimensions indicator like Z score, and Z score can be estimated with the help of mean minus median upon mean standard deviation. Then weighting and final aggregation, equal weights, aggregation method, arithmetic mean, we can use it. Then ranking, classification of the states according to their obtained values. Then sensitivity analysis, generally compare the obtained rank with the ones resulting from different normalization, aggregation, and weighting methods. So these are the different phases: data gathering, data treatment, internal coherence, data normalization, subdimensions aggregation, weighting and final aggregation, ranking, and sensitivity analysis, and various methods which we can use for these phases. Next is step 1. First of all, if we construct this composite index, first of all, we will develop a theoretical framework. How we can develop a theoretical framework? Theoretical framework provides the basis for the selection and combination of variables into a meaningful composite indicators under a fitness for purpose principle. Involvement of experts and stakeholders is envisaged at this step. This define phenomena and its subcomponents, badly defined, badly measures, dimensions indicator, importance or desirable, then availability. So first of all, if we want to make this composite index, we have to develop a theoretical framework, what type of study, what type of variables we are using while making this composite index. Next is third is the most important thing, imputation of missing data. How we can impute this missing data? Missing completely at Menden, missing values do not depend on the variable of interest or on any other observed variable in the data set. Missing at random, that is called MAR. It is missing at random. Missing values do not depend on the variable of interest but are conditional on other variables in the data set. And sometimes not missing at random, values may be missing randomly or values may be missing non-randomly. So if values are missing randomly, then it will be a conditional or other variables we can use for our data analysis. And if the values are not missing randomly, then we can use the missing value depends on the value themselves. For example, high income households are likely to report their income, are less likely to report, because if people are earning too much income, they don't want to uh, they don't want to tell us about their high level of income. They are less likely to report their income. But if income is less of any household, he will clearly tell about his income, what the level of his income is. But high income households are less likely to report their income. So this something can be missing when while collecting data and while we are analyzing the data, that is called imputation of missing data. How we can impute the data which is missing, how we can use that thing. Instead, for normalization, normalization generally measures the relative position of a given indicator with a reference point. This could be a target to be reached in a given time period frame. It's an external benchmark. It's the average of a group and assigned one. Hence, above average performance is called above one. Normalization means you have to fix some normal value, either it may be 0 or 1. If the value is 0, it means there is no inequality. And if the value is 1, it means there is highly inequality in between the different countries or different regions or different districts or groups. So we can assign a rank or number, that is the average of that thing. Average of a group are assigned 1, and hence above 1 is average, more than average performance, and 1 is show average performance. So reference might be group leader and receive one reference country, might be unreliable outlier. And instead of being centered on one, it is centered on zero also. So if our value lies in between of zero and one, then if value comes to one or closer to one, which will show the right thing or accurate value. And if our value is near to zero, it means it will show no inequality, or it will show that performance is nil or very poor. And if the answer is 1, it means the student performance is average. Or if the performance is more than 1, it means the performance of the student is more than average. So this is called as normalization concept. This is also the main important steps while constructing composite index. Next is ranking method versus rating method. What is the difference between ranking and rating? Ranking is a ordinal thing. Sometimes when we have qualitative data, which we can't be estimate, we can't be measured in accurate numbers, then we can give only ranks according to our preferences. For example, if we are interested to buy any commodity, and if we are want to eat bread pakoda or any other food item, then that item will give us satisfaction. But how much satisfaction it will give us, we can't estimate in accurate numbers. We can only just feel, or we can give ranks according to our preferences. So some items are called qualitative, in which we can't estimate accurately, we can give only ranks according to our preferences. So simple ranking method involves having the manager rank order from top to bottom or from best to worst each member of a particular work group or department. The paired comparison method of performance is appraisal, involving comparing each individual employee with every other individual employee at a time. And the forced distribution method involves grouping employees into predefined frequencies of performance rating. So, if we want to estimate the performance of the employee, we can give rating. We can use this rating word or rating method. But if we want to estimate the qualitative data analysis, in which we can't estimate or we can't measure it in accurate numbers or in figures or in numerical terms, then we will use this ranking method or ordinal method. Ordinal method generally used in Spearman rank correlation method, in which we can give ranks according to the ascending order or in descending order from top to bottom or bottom to top. It means same as in HDI, like in India's, we can give ranks according to its performance in education, in healthcare, and in life expectancy. So if we are giving ranks, if we can't estimate accurately, then we will use this simple ranking method. But if we want to estimate the performance of the employees and appraisal and compare each individual employee with every individual employee, then we will use this rating method. Rating method may be paired comparison method. Paired comparison method will take individual employee with other individual employee, comparison in between of both. And the force distribution method involve grouping of employees into predefined frequencies of performance rating. Then we can use this rating method. So this is the difference between ranking method and rating method. Next is now simple price index. You know that simple price index is a very simple index which estimate or calculate relative change in price of the commodity, quantity of the commodity, or value of the commodity. Price relative index provides a ratio that indicates the changes in price of an item from one period to another. And simple price index is a common method of expressing this change as a percentage. In this, we use this formula P1 upon P0 into 100. Here Pn or P1 is current year price and P0 is base year price. And if current year price divided by base year price multiplied by 100, then we can estimate the simple price index. Next is the various examples of composite index number. Simple price index is the example of simple index number. But if we want to tell you about the different examples of composite index number, there are so many examples of composite index number. First example is physical quality of life index. The physical quality of life index is an attempt to measure a quality of life or well-being of a country. The value is the average of three statistics like basic literacy rate, second is infant mortality rate, and third is life expectancy at age 1, all equally weighted on a 0 to 100 scale. So physical quality of life index generally estimate or measures the quality of a life of the country people, and in this we take three dimensions, three indicators we use to calculate this physical quality of life index. One is literacy rate, second is infant mortality rate, and third is life expectancy. So if we are taking more than two variables or more than one variable, then it will be called composite index. So physical quality of life index is the first example or illustration of a composite index. Next is human development index. This is also the example of composite index. Human development index generally measures the development of human beings of each and every country. HDI is a socio-economic measure which focuses on three dimensions of human welfare. And what are these three dimensions? These three dimensions are longevity. Longevity means life expectancy. It means a person how much time period he want to survive or he want to live. In India, here average age is near about 65 years. But in developed nations or developed countries, the average age is near about 80 years, 85 years, and in some countries, 90 years is average age. So, if average age or life expectancy is higher, it means that country human development index will also be ranking more or good. And if longevity or life expectancy is less in underdeveloped countries or developing countries, it means their development is much poorer than developed nations. Next is knowledge. Knowledge access to education or literacy rates. If education level of any country is very higher, the rank of the country will be higher in HDI. And if education level or literacy rate is lower in developing nation or underdeveloped country, their rank will also be lower. So next is standard of living. Standard of living depends upon purchasing power parity. This is called PPP, triple P. This triple P purchasing power parity theory was developed by Gustav Cassel, GUSTAV Gustav Cassel, CASSEL Cassel. So this purchasing power parity, this theory tells us about how much purchasing power of Indian rupees and how much purchasing power of American dollar. You know that at present the value of dollar is increasing and the value of rupee is falling. It means India's currency's purchasing power is lower than USA's dollar purchasing power. So we can compare the currencies purchasing power of different nations with the help of this concept PPP. So GDP per capita estimates standard of living of the country people. So HDI includes three indicators: longevity, knowledge, and standard of living. It's also three dimensions. It focuses on three dimensions of human welfare. That's why it is called composite index. Next is gender related development index. This gender related development index is also similar to HDI. It separates only man and woman because it is related with gender. So gender means there are two types of gender, one is male, other is female. So country penalized for having disparities between man and woman. For example, schools enrollment. There is so much difference in enrollment of the in schools of male and female students. No country has a complete gender equality. You know that there is no such complete gender equality in each and every country. Norway highest again 0.960 and US high but not very top, and sub-Sahara Africa condition is very poor or lowest in this gender related development index. So this gender development index is generally similar to HDI, but it separates only male and female ratio, and it estimates either there is perfectly equality in between of male and female, or inequality lies in between of male and female or in gender. Next is gender related development index. How we can estimate it? It combines the same indicators like HDI, like income, literacy, education, life expectancy to reflect differences in gender. GDI, gross development index panel, gender development index. This is G denotes gender, but in GDP it denotes gross. GDI penalizes countries for having large disparities. Children enrolled in schools in Iran, two-thirds of population, but or in Mexico, two-thirds of population. GDI is lower in Iran and higher in Mexico. Girls in Iran less likely to be enrolled in schools, but in Mexico more likely to be enrolled in schools. So, to see this gender related development index, we can find out or we can conclude that in which country gender equality exists, or in other country like in Iran, gender equality does not exist. So, this is also the example of composite index number. Next is what are the various problems and limitations of using this development indicators? Other development indicators can be useful for government NGOs to know where to target investment or where for industries to locate a new factory, or even for where an individual to move. But it has so many limitations also. Country-wide statistics to disguise intra-country variations. For example, Eastern China is lot richer than the West, but if you looked at China's overall GDP, you would not know this. It means the total GDP of China will not tell us about intra-countries variation. In many countries, data is inaccurate or incomplete. Some countries also refuse to release certain pieces of information or data. Most development indicators, exception of HDI, focuses on only one aspect of development that will be included in single development indicators. Most indicators uses averages, and average may not be true, may be true, may not be true, and tend to neglect or highlights the sectors of the population that are marginalized. So there are so many limitations of these development indicators. They always not tells us the true picture of development of the country. Next is qualitative research. Qualitative research is that research in which we can't quantify the data, we can't quantify or estimate the data in accurate numbers. That is called qualitative research. It's a transdisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and sometimes counterdisciplinary field. It crosses the humanities and the social and physical sciences. Qualitative research is many things at the same time. Qualitative data can be qualitative research in this data analysis can be read and reread data, become engrossed in it, identify things common, conflicting, minority, etc. Some researches are based on quantitative data and some researches are based on qualitative data. In qualitative data analysis, first of all, we have to organize the collected data, then identification of framework step will be done, then sorting out the data into a framework, then descriptive analysis, which is based on this framework, then second order analysis will be done. So these are the steps of qualitative data analysis. Next is what are the various common methods of qualitative data analysis? These are content analysis. If any person studying about or doing research in content analysis, he will use qualitative data analysis. In narrative analysis, discourse analysis, thematic analysis or grounded theory, we can use qualitative data analysis. Next is common qualitative design. Study designs are ethnographic research is that research in which we study about cultural or rituals of the society people. And phenomenology study always individuals lived experiences of events. For example, AIDS. Grounded theory is just tells us about grounded going beyond adding to the existing body of knowledge, developing a new theory about a phenomena theory. This is called grounded theory. And participatory action research is that research in which respondents and participants and individuals also included in your research study. And case study is called in-depth study or in-depth investigation of a single item. Thematic analysis is that analysis which is not based on perfectly recipe based. There are many ways of doing it. Grounded theory, more recipe based. It grounded applicable to grounded theory, discourse analysis, narrative analysis. But thematic analysis is not based on a strict theoretical position within qualitative data analysis. It is applicable to a wide variety of data sets, including observations across a range of media. Now concluded, we can conclude that today we will discuss about what is index number, what type of index number we have to study about these things. One is single index number, other is composite index number. If we study about single unit, then we will use simple index number. And if we study about multivariate or multidimensional concept, then we will use this composite index number. And there are two types of research, qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative data analysis has so many tools. So this is the data analysis block 4, composite index and qualitative research. Now this data analysis paper and all blocks are completed in today's session. Thank you.